Hey guys, so basically because you were doing your project, your group project, the other students weren't doing, you were a little bit further behind on your reading. And please know that your efforts are not wasted. I am just praying that we get back into school and you get to finish those projects. But since we're kind of in the unknown for now, we did leave off, according to my notes, on page 18. And I had started the videos for the other classes on chapter 4. So I'm going to read from page 18 until page 30, I believe it is, to get you guys caught up with the rest of the classes that will be starting for Live Red Day 11. So I am sorry about that. We were trying to do something fun, and I guess currently it backfired, but I hope that our efforts are still going to be worth it. So, on page 18. Lenny, basically what's happened up to this point is we meet Zoe. We kind of get vibes, like she's poor. She's got this best friend named Fuchsia. She has a little brother Hector, a little brother Bryce, a little sister Aurora. Her family lives with Lenny and his dad Frank's trailer. Lenny's her mom's boyfriend. And their mom is making these hot dog wraps, and the kids are all excited, and the Patriots game's on, and then the power goes out. And Lenny's like, you must not filled out the form good enough. And the mom's like, but I swore I did. And that's kind of where we're at. Lenny interrupts her before she can say anything more in there. I don't know what he's talking about until I hear their bedroom door shut. And I realize they've disappeared inside it. They almost never argue about money or bills or anything really when I can overhear them. The neighbor's light goes out, and I'm back to being completely in the dark in so many ways. So it wasn't the fuse box. It was the power company who cut us off. In our old life, Mom got really good at filling out the form for financial assistance to take care of it. But she hasn't exactly been a take care of it mom for a while now. And she sure isn't the one left holding Aurora and Bryce when everything falls to pieces. I take a deep breath. An octopus might start out defenseless, but it sure doesn't stay that way. On a wave of octopus arms, I roll across our bedroom, sliding around the battle box, checking the distance to my mattress so I don't trip over it, and simultaneously reaching for the doorknob with one of my tentacles. I silently roll across the main room, my skin changing to match snoring Frank and his recliner as I pass by. Just around the corner in the empty entryway, the washing machine sits up against the wall. It's broken, except for when it pretends to work and turns all of our clothes gray, but that doesn't matter now. I scale it, one sector at a time, until I'm on top of it, right next to the section of wall that goes all soft from a leak a while back. Right where Bryce's lightsaber made a hole last summer when he and Lenny were play fighting. It's a hole that leads right into my mom and Lenny's bedroom, and my hunch was right. I can hear what they're saying from here. If I put my eye up against the hole, I can even see them. Because that's the thing about an octopus. It knows it needs to hide its soft, squishy body out of sight. But if anyone bothers to take a closer look at the hole in the reef, they'd see a big, unblinking octopus, eyes staring out at them. Through the hole, I see Hector sitting in the middle of the bed, waving my mom's phone flashlight around like a strobe light. Lenny is organizing his undershirt drawer with an actual flashlight, completely oblivious to the disco pant party room that the disco dance party room that he is in. There's another thing about getting to live with Lenny in this trailer. It is seriously neat and tidy and organized. In our last apartment, pre-Lenny, the countertop was rotting around the edges. So you'd realize halfway through washing dishes that water had been pooling downstream into the carpeting. We basically spent our 6 months in that apartment ducking under the 5 clotheslines that crisscrossed the main room and smelling like we lived in a swamp. Lenny's trailer, on the other hand, is the opposite of swamp. His bathroom is the most non-moldy thing you've ever seen. I told you I delivered that form last week, he's saying. You believe me, don't you? My mom, sitting near Hector on the bed, dodges to the left to avoid being whacked by her strobe light phone. Of course I believe you. Lenny starts laying his undershirt out on the bed to refold them. You can't always blame someone else. My mom bites her lips and looks away. It's just that I spent a whole day on that form. I thought I filled it out right. But how would you even know if it's right? I want to look away. She didn't used to be this much of a mess, but I forced myself to keep my octopus eyes pressed against the hole, wide and unblinking. Why is she the one that all four of us kids are related to? Why can't it be Lenny instead? All confident and competent. No one at school would mess with me if I were like him. I know, my mom stammers, but I asked Connor to look at it first and he thought it... My mom's voice falters. In the disco light, I can make out Lenny shaking his head. Really? Really? He stops folding and crosses the room to be right next to my mom. You really showed all the private details about our lives to Connor? Connor waits tables at the pizza pit too, and he's basically the only friend my mom has right now. He's also totally awesome, but Lenny never seems to be a big fan of his, and I don't know if it's because Connor's gay or if it's because of something else. Hector drops my mom's phone and starts crying. I thought he could help, my mom says quickly. He's not someone who would judge us or anything, and he doesn't get all flustered with forms like that, and... Lenny hands my mom's phone back to Hector and then wraps his arms around my mom from behind. I remember him wrapping her up like this when they first got together, and how she would close her eyes and lean her head against his shoulder like there was nowhere else to be in the world. We can take care of our own business ourselves, Lenny says. You've got me taking care of you now. My mom has her eyes squeezed shut, but it's not like before when she'd be looking all calm. It's more like how Bryce looked when he accidentally crashed into Lenny's tower of alphabetized DVDs, and he closed his eyes tight as if that'd make the mess he'd made go away. I scoot down off the washing machine. I can't stand to see my mom's face looking like that. If she could do stuff right the first time around, it wouldn't have to be like this. Okay, guys. Chapter 3. In the morning, I wake up to the sound of Lenny's car pulling out of the driveway. The electricity still isn't back on, but the sun, that rebel, has started to lighten the sky for free. Another thing about Lenny is that he's never late to work. Even though his part-time job at the auto parts store has him leaving before 7, he's still on time. On time and clean-shaven as you could possibly get. Between Lenny's obsession with his lather shaving brush and his insistence on paying attention to little details, like clocks and his car's odometer, he's basically the exact opposite of my mom's other boyfriends, with their varying degrees of scruffiness and whose main talents were eating all the food in our fridge. Well, Bryce and Aurora's dad, Nate, wasn't bad. He was kind, and those times he took me hunting were super fun, but then he stopped hunting and started drinking, and you can't hold down a job and take care of kids when you're like that. He'd just look out the window of the camper van we lived in back then like the answer was out there. I mean, maybe it was, because my mom told him loads of times to go to AA meetings, but he never went. Things went south between him and my mom one day when we were at the boat launch. He had been trying to convince Bryce to go swimming with him, but Bryce couldn't swim, and Nate was drunk and didn't exactly remember that. Evidently, being yelled at by your girlfriend in front of your kids and a whole bunch of kayakers wakes up something inside you, and he drove off in the camper van and didn't come back. I pushed myself up on the mattress until I can see Bryce and Aurora. Bryce had one of his nightmares last night, but you wouldn't know it from looking at him now. They're both still breathing deep like two little squirrely-haired Darth Vaders. I hate waking them up. It's like you finally won the lottery of peace and quiet, and then you rip that winning ticket to shreds and dump a bucket of angry, screaming monkeys on your head. I pull on my own clothes and brush my hair, and then perch myself next to them on their bed and give them each a little nudge. Bryce, Aurora, time to get up. Just a few years ago, my mom was the one waking me up. She'd sing this little good morning song even though she can't carry a tune. That was when she had to keep a bag of frozen corn on her face to numb the pain from rotting teeth. Because some people have parents who remind them to brush their teeth, but my mom's didn't. Still, she was determined not to take ibuprofen because she was pregnant with Aurora and it could hurt the baby. She finally had to sell our beat-up car to scrape together the money to get those teeth extracted. She got 5 of them pulled, but the worst was the week after that, because there we were with no car, 15-month-old Bryce, who was coming down with an ear infection, and Aurora about to be born. And 2 more teeth started throbbing. That was before we found the Octopus DVD, and that was definitely before Lenny saved the day and paid for a new set of teeth for my mom. I give Bryce and Aurora each another nudge, but it's like trying to wake up 2 rocks. I started to pull the bedspread off them. Bryce grabs held tight, curls into it, and growls. Monkeys growl sometimes, right? It can't always be ooh, ooh, ah, ah. Aurora, with her eyes still closed, pinches her face together tight. You gotta get up, I say. You're not Mommy, Bryce growls back. I don't have to listen. Not Mommy, Aurora echoes. Every time it's like this. Does it matter that it was me who told them a cool story last night? No. You know Mommy has to sleep in because she has to wake up with Hector in the night, I remind them. I don't point out that she never stayed in bed like this when Bryce and Aurora were babies. I've peeked in on her enough mornings recently to know that she's probably lying in the fetal position, and that if I ask when she's going to get up, she'll say soon, but she won't. I've stopped hoping to see her before I leave for school, and being rejected like that is not what Bryce and Aurora need to start the day. You're not Mommy, Bryce yells at the top of his lungs. Screaming monkeys, flippin' screaming monkeys. I'm going to stop here for part 2 so the video is not too long.